What's up, y'all? It's T-Tar, and after months, we finally got actual news for Pokemon Scarlet and Violet's DLC. So a new trailer came out in the Nintendo Direct. We're gonna go through some of the secrets in this, because I noticed a lot when I first watched it. So the DLC just starts off showing everything we know about the game on a board. Kind of like when they announced the Isle of Armor and Karan Tundra. They just put all the information out there. But it ends with them showing this scene. Wait. That's a new scene. That scene does not happen in the main game. Whose hands is that? The one on the left kind of looks like Turo, and then the one on the right looks like Sada. Am I the only one who sees that? Could they cross over both professors in the game? Finally tell us who the other person is in each of their diaries. The man walked out, the woman walked out. Is the other professor alive in Blueberry Academy? This was one of the things we were speculating for fun. I mean, this looks like our Area Zero crater. You know, it looks like one of the research labs or something. At some point, we're gonna come back to our Area Zero, and this cutscene has to play out. The hidden treasure of Area Zero. You guys see how that animation goes down? It's like a piece of paper. I make a lot of fun jokes that maybe Heath left stuff that didn't make it into his final book. Maybe they got scattered in Area Zero and stuff. It kind of looks like if people were to investigate stuff in Area Zero and found secret pages of Heath's books and stuff he witnessed, that studying that would lead to the events in this DLC. Both DLCs are called the Hidden Treasure of Area Zero, and you also see this weird pattern on all the crystals. So the equivalent of this was the Isle of Armor. I just played Sword and Shield. I just beat the Isle of Armor. This looks as good, if not better than the Isle of Armor. Hold the is that an old man? Oh my god, what is that? Yo, I cannot tell for the life of me. Then they introduce us to our two rivals, Carmine and Kyron. So the girl looks like the one who's more trainer oriented and will battle you, and the guy looks like he's more interested in the festival, which is the main purpose of this DLC. There's a festival for these Pokemon on screen. So it's like they're getting all the little lanterns ready for a traditional Japanese festival. Everyone's dressed in that attire, and if you look, people are wearing masks. And some of them are literally wearing Ogerpon's mask. Also, I swear that's Japanese up there. There is a strong hint that we're not in Paldea when we're in this part of the game. Freaking Snorlax. So if you'll notice, the masks here go with some of the Pokemon we've met. We have this mask for that big dog. We have this mask that looks like the monkey. And then one for the bird. And of course, Ogerpon's. Which leads to ideas like maybe you have to give these masks to those three Pokemon and they get a form change or something. Something has to lead to whatever terraforms are. And then we get a look at the three Pokemon in 3D. They look so much better this way. And they actually have a title. They're called the Loyal Three. So they're a trio now. Maybe what you would do is they would show up on the festival, then scatter to their own individual places across the island. And the story is you going and finding them all. And maybe it leads to trials along the way. Maybe this DLC would be more like Sun and Moon, where each of the Loyal Three want to test you for some reason. That is so cool. And then of course, hiding in some distant cave on a mountain is Ogerpon. And he's got a little shrine spot that he's waiting at. The way he waits there like a Mewtwo is really cool. He got some Pokemon vibes. Now, what really is the story? In game, they've gone with the Momotaro story where there's an evil ogre that torments the village. These three protect the village from the ogre. The real story is the three are befriended by a kid called Momotaro, and together they protect the village and stop the ogre. And that mask that they zoom into, that's not even glowing in that cutscene. It looks like it's supposed to glow. What is that mask? Now, what does Ogerpon look like behind that? Now, a couple things I need to mention in that first DLC trailer. Two things. One, they show Jotonian Wooper, which is a Pokemon you will never find in Paldea, which almost hints that we're not in Paldea. In fact, we might even... could it be Johto? We don't have to actually go to Johto if it does turn out this is Johto. They just have to mention we're near Johto. You know, we got that Snorlax in the cutscene. Of course, we have Oricorios and stuff. But how insane would it be if they just mentioned this is an island near Kanto and Johto? And then the other thing is there's a shrine that shows Hisuian Growlithe on it, which, you know, you see images like in Scarlet and Violet where Professor Laventon is in the back, which shows that they remember some things from history, but you never see the Pokemon acknowledged. So seeing that Growlithe there, maybe they never went extinct. Maybe there's regions where the Hisuian Pokemon continue to live on. And then we get to the second DLC. We only saw the 3D CGI thing in the first trailer. This is what it actually looks like in game. It's supposed to look very plain, like there's nothing to do in this DLC. But they introduce a character called Cyrano. Am I supposed to read cyan in his name, like blue? He seems to be the director of this academy, and he calls it his Grand Blueberry Academy. I'm just gonna go out on a limb and say, especially when he's done that with his hair, he's obviously researching something. I'm saying he's shady. So you can see, you can go up the walkway, you can battle on the surface. This is pretty much the academy. I'm sure in those doors is a bunch of books in people's classrooms. Here's our new outfits. Then we get introduced to this girl called Lacey, a second-year student, and she has these interesting clips in her hair. It reminds me of the Ogerpon mask. Those gems? What really are those little gems that make up Ogerpon's mask? She appears also to be one of the characters that was shown on the graphic when we first learned of this DLC. There's a bunch of trainers here. She's one of them. My goodness. Okay, this is the juice with Blueberry Academy. It is not just the thing on the surface. There is a whole dome underneath Blueberry Academy, split into 4 quadrants. And they call it their terrarium. Well done, using the word terra. Terrarium is exactly that, but they've punned it because they've used the word terra, so they're doing a double thing here. And if you look around, you can see the gems around. This is it, the park beneath the sea that has gained renown around the world. That sucker is so evil. It's so obvious. You know, you already envisioned the final battle with them. Also, her freaking clips are starting to make her look like she's a devil or something. Anyhow, the question here is, how did this terrarium come to be? Could it have been always some interesting spot underwater that they went and put a dome over? And look at that, we got the icy places. We never had a place like this in Scarlet and Violet. Then we have the mountains, the swamps, and whatever that is. They seem like they could be little research labs. But some of these even seem like they could be villages. But how many freaking villages do you need? Of course, it's separated by these interesting blocks, but at the center is a bunch of gems. Oh, that's like a village right there, a city. What, do you actually have people living down here? I thought it was a park. But I want you guys to just think for a bit. Let's say Blueberry's shady, right? What could be the purpose of all of this? What are they scheming? As the footage goes on, you can see more of the areas there are crystals around. I don't think that crystals were brought here. I think this has some history. Somehow they were already here. That's why Blueberry's here. And those are the little border blocks. You can also see in different parts of this gameplay, in the middle of battle, those border blocks are showing. They look so unusual. They look like something's up with them, like they're glitch blocks. Like you went too far with technology. Anyone else get that feeling? But yeah, then they proceed to show a bunch of Pokemon that aren't in Scarlet and Violet, like Milotic, and these guys are going to be added in the DLC. And these are some of the other trainers from the graphic. These would all be like our rivals or enemies. Since we're split into factions, maybe you have groups that prominently investigate each of the 4 areas. So when we meet up at the top, we're kind of butting heads with each other. Terapagos! This is the last thing shown in the DLC. Now, he looks so good in 3D. You can't get a sense of its scale, but you can see the animation of what's on its back. You see the symbols kind of forming. Did Terapagos just wake up and those symbols go from like passive into the actual symbols? But I don't know if you guys noticed it, but you can see one thing in this, which is, where is Terapagos right now? What it looks like is Terapagos is literally doing what is shown in Heat's drawing. It also looks like he's extremely peaceful. He does not want any harm. But whatever Heat saw in his vision, it's exactly what we're seeing here, albeit with a few differences. Because Terapagos doesn't have hexagons, the same way Heath drew it. But this tells us that it is a giant orb that Terapagos was showing on the whole time. Is there something in that orb? Is it like an egg, or is it just a huge ball of Terra energy? You imagine that at the end of the DLC, when you finally find out where Terapagos is or something, that is the setting you see when you're about to fight him. He's just on his orb. Anyhow, that's it, my dudes. Make sure y'all shank that like button and let me know your thoughts in the comments. DM me your theories. Let's get back into making some theories on this stuff. And I'll see you on the next video. Take care.